guys, it's Summer and today I'm doing a book unhaul. I'm going to try to do this as fast as I can without spending too much time on each of the books. Just know a lot of these I got for $2 at the thrift store and I only bought them because they were cheap and I had barely heard of them and just wanted to buy a book. So that's most of them. All of these books I've just kind of become uninterested in, or I have multiple copies of it now, that kind of a thing. The first one is going to be kind of controversial. It's A Monster Calls by Patrick Ness. I've had this for a long time and I have just never picked it up. I saw the movie and it was cute, but I feel like I've gotten my fill of this story from the movie and I don't think I'll ever read it because I already know everything. The art is beautiful, but I'm just ready to give this to somebody else. This one is The Darkest Corners by Kara Thomas. $2. I have no idea what it's about and I don't want to read it. My Not So Perfect Life by Sophie Kinsella. It's chick lit that I just really don't think I want to read. There's other chick lit I'd much rather read before this. It was also $2. This one's a little bit rough. This one is also starred by Nicola Yoon and it's signed. I loved Everything, but I got this because it was really popular when it first came out, but I just don't really love the really fast teen romance that happens. I've heard this is just like such insta love in this book and I really don't like that. It's a beautiful cover. I've heard that it's a pretty cute story, but I just don't really think I'm into this kind of like YA romance. At least right now. I can always buy it again if I want to pick it up later. Catching Fire. I have another copy of this that's in better condition. This is Starflight by Melissa Landers. I got this in a book subscription box and I've had it for literally 3 years and I've never read it. There's other space stories that I'd rather read before this. This one is The Conspiracy of Us by Maggie Hall. Again, it just sounds kind of like YA romance with insta-love, probably a love triangle. I just have had this for a long time and have not been interested enough to pick it up. This is Since You've Been Gone by Morgan Matson. I know that she's a really well-loved author. Again though, it just feels like really immature YA romance that I'm just no longer interested in. I feel like everyone after this is going to be like, she hates YA romance. I just am kind of moving past young adult, I think. Same goes with this one, Passenger by Alexandra Bracken. I'm literally just going to be repeating myself if I say everything again. I was really debating whether or not to get rid of this one, but it's Looking for Alaska by John Green. I picked this up not too long after reading The Fault in Our Stars. It's one of the first books that I read when I got back into reading a few years ago. I really did not like this though. I thought Alaska was kind of a bitch. That's probably how she was meant to come across, but I just didn't like this book as much as a lot of other people do. And it just kind of annoys me whenever I look at it on my bookshelves. Also, if I ever did want to get a new copy, there are way prettier editions than this one. This one is called Three Princes by Ramona Wheeler. I got this because I wanted more like Egyptian-based folklore stories or just like Egyptian historical fiction, which I'm still really interested in. But this one has a really weird, complicated synopsis and it's kind of like different genres and different times pushed into one and it just sounds too complicated for me. It also doesn't have very good reviews on Goodreads, so I'm not too stoked about it anymore. This is The Signature of All Things by Elizabeth Gilbert. It sounded cool when I first picked it up, but now it just sounds boring. I'm sorry if you wanted to hear the synopses of all these books, but you can look it up on Goodreads if you really want to. I'm getting rid of The Da Vinci Code and Inferno, both by Dan Brown. I do want to read these, just not anytime soon. I can't see myself reading these in the next 2 years, and I figure if I do read them, it'll probably be on audiobook, or I can just go find other copies for cheap again because these are literally everywhere. I'm getting rid of this one. Is The Insulin Resistance Diet, so it's like a diet book. It's nonfiction. I have this thing called PCOS. It stands for polycystic ovary syndrome, and it's a hormone imbalance, and a lot of your diet is what controls your symptoms and stuff like that. So my hormone specialist recommended this book to me to kind of get diet plans and stuff like that, but I honestly just take this information in a lot better coming from the internet, like Pinterest recipes or watching people's YouTube videos, stuff like that. So I'm just gonna get rid of this one. This is Saga Volume 1, which I do want to read. I just bought a whole big like bind up of a lot of the editions in one, so I don't need this one anymore because it's included in that other edition. I also got this weird like library bound copy, so I don't know what happened there, but this is Girl in Pieces by Kathleen Glasgow. Probably just a YA thriller that I would forget after reading it, and it was $2. I almost didn't get rid of this one. It's Lincoln in the Bardo by George Saunders. It's beautiful, in perfect condition from the thrift store. Has deckled edges, but this just sounds kind of like a book that I would find boring. I mainly picked it up because of the cover. and that it was $2. I'm getting rid of this one. It's World Faiths Buddhism. Not because I'm not interested in the topic or anything like that. I got this from a little free library, so it was a free book. It was kind of the only book in that collection of books that was interesting to me, and so I just picked it up. It's in really bad condition though. It's really ripped up. And same as like the diet book, I just receive nonfiction information like this a lot better through reading articles or on the internet or like watching people's YouTube videos that are actually part of their religion and stuff. I'm really excited to learn more about this, but just not from this book. This is Shoe Dog by Phil Knight. I thought it'd be cool to read a memoir about the creator of Nike, but now it just sounds boring to me. It's going back to the thrift store. This is The Cuban Affair by Nelson DeMille. I've read this synopsis like a million times and I still don't know what it's about, and it just doesn't sound like anything I really want to read. It was a thrift store book, so I just kind of picked it up because the cover was cool. I feel like I'm being so quick and so negative in this video. I'm just trying to like get my thoughts out fast and film this video quick. This is Where'd You Go, Bernadette by Maria Semple. I think I do want to read this eventually, but I either want to do it on audiobook or buy a better copy. This was $2 from the thrift store, but it's like a library copy that's really old. It still has the plastic on it. I just don't want to keep this edition anymore. I have like a million copies of this little book. It's Kindred Spirits by Rainbow Rowell. I really liked this book. I thought the story was really cute. It's by one of my favorite authors, but when I bought it, it literally came as like a package of 50 copies and I only wanted one. So I think the same thing happened to Jessie the Reader. I don't remember for sure if I'm making that up or if I actually heard that. I am keeping a copy for myself because I did like it, but I'm just getting rid of all the other books that I got in that package. This story is going to be put in with another short story of hers into an actual book that you can buy, I think, pretty soon. I think it's going to be called Midnights or something like that. This is Caraval by Stephanie Garber. This is a really pretty edition, so I'm kind of sad to be getting rid of it because of that. I've just heard really mixed things about this book. A lot of things that people said they didn't like about this book are things that I think I will also not like, so I'm just gonna get rid of it. I'm getting rid of The Help by Catherine Stockett, but this is like one of my all-time favorite books. I just have a better edition of it now. This one's kind of falling apart. This is The Farm by Tom Rob Smith. It sounds like a cool story to me. I just don't know if I'm gonna pick it up anytime soon. I'm still gonna keep it like on my TBR on Goodreads in case I ever do want to go back to it so I can remember the title and stuff, but I just don't think I'm gonna get to this anytime soon. This is Gold Fame Citrus by Claire V. Watkins. The synopsis sounds kind of interesting, but again, it's another book that I just don't think I'm going to read anytime soon. There are plenty of other books that I want to read before this one. This is The Red House by Mark Haddon. I mainly picked it up because of the cover. I have no idea what it's about. This is The Call of the Wild by Jack London. I liked this because it's small and it's like an older book. I've never read this. I know it's kind of a classic. Is it a classic? I don't know for sure. I know it's well loved by a lot of people, but I just don't think I'm going to read it anytime soon, if at all. So, sorry if you love that book. This is Bloodleaf by Crystal Smith. It's, I'm pretty sure, a YA fantasy that's new. This is an ARC. So I don't know what I'm going to do with this because I can't, you're not supposed to sell them, and the thrift store that I give it to will just sell it, so I might do like a giveaway with this or something, but it just sounds kind of like every other YA fantasy that's out there, so I'm not that intrigued by it. This is The Circle by Dave Eggers. It just sounds like a really long, dense book, and I don't really want to read it anymore. I really wanted to read it before the movie came out, but now the movie's out and the movie got bad reviews and I just kind of lost interest in it. This is The Nest by Cynthia D'Aprix Sweeney. The cover is beautiful. Sounds like the kind of fiction that I just am not really into, and it sounds like it'll just be kind of boring and forgettable. This is The Casual Vacancy by J.K. Rowling, and I think I've decided I just don't want to read anything by her that isn't Harry Potter. This also hasn't gotten good reviews, so at least from the people that I've watched videos from and stuff. Oh my god, I'm only like halfway done. This is Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert, so I'm getting rid of 2 of her books in this haul. I think this is just a nonfiction book about being a creative, but I have no idea. I just picked it up because I recognized her name. This is If, Questions for the Game of Life. It's just a book full of open-ended questions to get to know people. It's kind of like a game. I bought this with somebody that's no longer in my life, and whenever I look at it, it just reminds me of that person. So, getting rid of it. I think that's always a good reason to get rid of something. This is The Vacationers by Emma Straub. I bought this for a video that I was thinking of doing, and I decided to not do that video because it was going to be like reading the lowest rated books on my Goodreads TBR, like a lot of people have been doing. But then I decided that I've already read like so many like dumb books lately, or just like mediocre okay books, that I didn't want to waste my time with something that probably was gonna still be bad. So it's a really pretty cover though. I've always liked this cover. I'm getting rid of Call Me By Your Name by Andre Assman. I've talked about this book before and that I hated it. There were a couple things, like the romance was kind of cute. I like the movie a million times better. but this was one of my least favorite books of last year. It has some really just like awkward, weird, gross sexual things that happen in it. They also talk really terribly about people in wheelchairs in one of the paragraphs that I've marked in here. If you want to hear more thoughts on it, it's in my Worst Books of 2019 video that I posted a while ago, so getting rid of it because I really didn't like it. This is Tandem by Anna Jarzab. It's like multiple dimensions, YA, and it just doesn't sound good to me anymore. It also doesn't have very good reviews, I don't think. This is Anna and the French Kiss by Stephanie Perkins. I really did not like this book. I thought it was very annoying, immature YA romance, and I read it a few years ago. It's just really annoying, immature YA romance that I just didn't have fun reading, and whenever I look at it, it makes me mad. So I'm gonna get rid of it. This is Water for Elephants by Sarah Gruen. It was a cheap thrift store book. I've seen the movie, and the movie was fine, but it seemed really dark, and I don't really think I want to like experience it again, so I'm not gonna read it. I'm getting rid of this, but don't freak out. It's just because I have 2 copies of this exact same book, because I bought this and then I bought the box set. This is What She Knew by Gilly McMillan or Julie McMillan. I know it's a thriller, but that's all I know. This is also kind of a gross copy. Like, it's pretty beat up, so it's gonna go back to the thrift store. I'm getting rid of Safe Haven by Nicholas Sparks. I love this movie. I think it's such a good movie, but I don't really want to read the book. My cousin read it and told me that it's just very dark with like the domestic violence and stuff. I just don't want to read that. So I'm gonna just stick to the movie and love the movie. This is The Storied Life of A.J. Fikry. I do eventually want to read this book, but this is a pretty battered copy, so I'm just going to get a better edition eventually. This one is A Man Called Ove by Frederick Bachman. Everybody knows this. It's well loved, but I've just heard that it's such a sad book and it just makes you feel so many emotions, and I just prefer to read happier books. Maybe eventually I will get to this because it is so well loved, and I'm sure that it's beautiful and I would love it, but I just don't have the energy for a sad book right now, and probably not for a while, so I'm going to pass this along. I have Ready Player One by Ernest Cline. I tried to read this and I could not get through it. The last one, I'm pretty sure it's the last one. This is, I've got books all over my bed right now. There might be one hiding. This is Haunted Castles by Ray Russell. I got this a few years ago because I just wanted an edition like this, like one of these Penguin Classics editions. I meant to read this around Halloween. Like every year I've meant to read it for Halloween and I just don't want to. So I'm gonna pass this one along too. Those are all the books I'm getting rid of though. So let me know if you agree or disagree with me on any of these. Thank you guys so much for watching though, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.